And it goes on to explain that the immigration came later.
Right.
Years later it came. It was literally commissioned to celebrate the end of slavery. But when black people walk through, you hear white people say, oh, well, you know, my great-great and my great-great. But black men, women, and children feel no connection to Lady Liberty.
Come on.
But how much prouder would they be if they knew that their ancestors that didn't come through Ellis Island, that came chained together in the belly of ships, that she was standing on those shackles? How much prouder would those young people be? How much honor would they display in understanding who paid for them?
Yeah.
You erase the chains, you erase me. So why don't we show the chains? And that was the whole point, because you see, once you show the chains, you've got to explain them.
You got to explain
And
them.
do you understand, every black man, woman, and child can literally say, oh, no, that's mine.
That's mine.
That's mine. And all of this time, America lied to its people and to the world. The most recognized symbol probably on the planet. And we've never told the truth.
The Statue of Liberty, a beacon of hope and a symbol of the American dream, has long stood as a welcoming figure, her torch raised high, promising a new life to those seeking refuge and opportunity. Yet, beneath the familiar narrative of immigration and aspiration, a deeper, more complex story lies hidden, a tale of broken chains and a legacy intricately woven with the struggle for racial justice. Joy DeGruy, a historian and advocate, has dedicated herself to unearthing this obscured truth, revealing that Lady Liberty's origins are deeply rooted in the abolition of slavery, a fact often overlooked in the dominant historical narrative. In a time where historical narratives are frequently contested and manipulated, DeGru's journey to uncover the statue's authentic symbolism is a vital reminder of the importance of challenging accepted truths and seeking the unvarnished facts. Her narrative, delivered with unwavering passion and conviction, resonates profoundly, particularly for Black Americans who have often felt a disconnect from a symbol that, for many, failed to reflect their ancestral experiences and the enduring legacy of systemic racism. The core of this recontextualization lies in the understanding that the statue's origins are deeply intertwined with the abolition of slavery. While the dedication of the statue occurred later, the initial conception and the surrounding discussions arose within a historical context that included the aftermath of the American Civil War and the burgeoning discourse on emancipation. This historical truth, frequently overshadowed by the emphasis on immigration, compels us to reconsider the multifaceted symbolism of liberty and its intricate relationship to the nation's ongoing struggle for equality.
What I often say to black folks now, in this climate of extraordinary hate, is we did it before, and we can do it again.
Yeah.
And we had far less. Okay, we had far less to work with, and we had much greater tragedies confronting us. And I believe in that. I believe that we are the pupil of the eye, surrounded by a sea of white. But it is the pupil that contains the sight. It beholds what is before it. That's scriptural. And I believe that that is what the greatest fear is what I see you, and I can see through you.
Yeah.
And we have to remind our children that they were born with the right to be treated with respect and integrity. They didn't have to earn it. Every human being was born with the right. And we need to infuse into them their intrinsic nobility, their intrinsic greatness. That's what we have to infuse in our children, regardless of what anyone else does. I'm not waiting for someone else to educate
listen,
my children.
I think that's what's so important, right? And you tell this story about the Statue of Liberty. And as a former history teacher, you know, I just love these historical facts, right?
Yeah.
That we cannot negate. We cannot skip past. So you tell this story of the Statue of Liberty being commissioned in 1865 by the French artist and the original drawing of the Statue of Liberty.
And, you know, that story, I had no idea that it resonated the way it did with folks because I was experiencing it, right? So it's actually, the whole story is in the book, the revised book. I actually put it in there. So it was around 2007, 2008. A friend of mine called me and said me, Joy, and this friend, Floyd Myers, brother of Heavy D, he called me, he says, Joy, you know, he lives in Mount Vernon. And our families are really close. He said, I got a new job. I said, what's the new job? He said, I work for the Department of the Interior. I said, really? He said, I'm over all the national parks for the state of New York. right? So forestry department, all of these. He said, I'd like you to come to the Statue of Liberty. I said, no. And he said, no, why not? I said, I'm not going, Floyd. It's going to make me mad. I'm not going. He says, well, why is it going to make you mad? I said, because, well, I've been to France. I'd actually seen the original drawings of Bartholdi, who was the architect who did the sculpture. And I knew that the Statue of Liberty, and everybody knows in her right hand she's holding a torch. And I always ask my audience, what is she holding in her left hand? Right. And when I was at the Statue of Liberty, because I eventually agreed, because Floyd was insistent, and he said, I can give you a pass. We can go up in her eye and everything. I said, okay. So when I go there, I'm going there with the knowledge that the Statue of Liberty was holding originally in her left hand broken chains. Again, commissioned 1865, pretty important date, end of slavery, end of the Civil War. All of those things were why. She is a statue of what? Liberty. Which makes sense. So she has broken chains in her left hand. Now she's holding a rectangular object with a Roman numeral on it. That's what she's holding. So I'm telling Floyd, I said, I know for a fact this is a historical document. I know it is. So first thing that happens when you go to Statue of Liberty, and I actually went to the first time with a friend of mine, and her name is Faith Holmes. And Faith is white, very white, blonde hair, blue eyes. She almost got us thrown out of the place. She had a meltdown, right? I'm going, look, you can't be melting down here. Okay, we're not having it, news at 11. So we're there, and I'm really, really very, very, the ranger who was, you get taken together and you get put in these groups. You're assigned a ranger. And he was very enthusiastic. He really was. A really enthusiastic man. He says, so now, I am going to be your ranger today. And they tell you more about the Statue of Liberty than you ever want to know. They tell you why it's green, because it was copper and it oxidized. They tell you how they got it over there. They tell you how they changed the torch a couple of times. They tell you that they even show you how thin it is, right? Just how thin the whole thing is, right? And he says, and if you have any questions, so of course.
Excuse me.
My head shot up, right? And I said, I was wondering if you're going to talk about the chains, right? So now you got to understand, every 20 minutes, thousands of people are getting off that ferry, coming to Ellis Island, coming to Statue of Liberty. So I say something about chains, and now you got people translating it into different languages. They go, she said something about chains, right? So, because I knew that she was holding, those broken chains. So now at this point, I'm like, they got to be here somewhere. So Floyd and I are now looking for the historical document that I said, the picture of it. I said, they can't not have it. It's a Statue of Liberty. They got to have it there. So we go into the basement of the Statue of Liberty.
This was so crazy to me.
We're in the basement of the Statue of Liberty. We find the document encased in glass behind figurines facing a wall in a hallway. So here we have the truth, hidden in plain sight. So I'm sitting there going, so Floyd, I take a picture of it. The picture is in the book, right? So I took a picture and I said, this is insane. I said, this is really insane that, here, we have that picture. Well, I then asked my audience, who won the argument? Because Bartholdi insisted that the chains remain. He really did. He was adamant. He was an advocate for abolitionism. He said the chains got to stay. And I asked the audience, who won? Did Bartholdi win or did the United States win? And they always say, well, the United States won. I said, no, they didn't. Bartholdi won. The chains are actually still there. And they have always been there the entire time at her feet, where it is impossible to see them under any circumstances.
Yeah.
Those broken shackles are on both sides. On her, as she looks like she's walking, there are broken shackles at her feet. So the agreement was, we'll keep the chains, but we'll make it so no one can see them. Yeah. Because if she's on a pedestal, the Statue of Liberty, if no one who's ever been, sometimes they don't realize, because we always see her like she's standing flat on the ground, but she's on a huge pedestal. Right. So you can't see over to see the chains. And if you're inside, you can't see them. So they're there and they're hidden. So now I'm feeling some kind of way, right? But I'm thinking, Floyd just got the job. You know what I'm saying? The man.
I can't let him lose his good black job.
The man, I can't get the man. So I took Floyd, and Floyd, being Floyd, he said, go on and bring it, Joy. Go on and bring it. So I spoke to his supervisor. I said, I would like to pay to have a picture of the chains at her feet so that they're on display. And they're explained. And he said, no. I said, I'll tell you what I can do. I said, I'm sure that I can get, just across the water, a black sculptor that will just sculpt that part. Because God knows they show you every aspect of the Statue of Liberty. And he says, yeah, no. I said, okay, I'm going to tell on you. And so I travel all over the world.
Yeah.
For a living, I travel all over the world. And I told this story. And I showed the pictures all over the world. So I get this call from the Department of the Interior. They said, we'd like to talk to you, Dr. DeGrew. And I'm going, I'm not scared. I'm from South Central. But I did tell my family where I was going. So they call me, and I come over, and his boss, I think it was his boss's boss, who said to me, Dr. DeGrew, we want to, one, apologize, and we want to acknowledge that we've been negligent, and we want to correct this. We want to immediately correct this. And the first thing we want to do is, we want to hire you to train all our rangers. I said, okay. And we're going to correct this negligence we've shown. So I didn't believe him. So I went back undercover, right? Because I wanted to know a couple of things. I wanted to know if they were going to first talk about the chains unasked, because I had asked
right.
The chains. And I was assigned with my little group. This is 2013, 2014. I'll go back, and I want to know if they've actually changed that. And my third visit, I go back, and I have a great ranger. The ranger not only tells the story of the chains, turns to me and says, "This is American history I'm sharing. It is your history, and it is my history, and I am proud to tell the story." It's a white ranger, right? So I'm thinking, great, this is wonderful. And the next thing I know, on the second visit, I had seen the picture displayed, and all that was great. But then in 2019, May 23rd, the Washington Post, they now have a museum that wasn't there, and they have a huge museum now at the Statue of Liberty, and it says the Statue of Liberty was designed to celebrate freed slaves, not immigrants. Mm-hmm. Its new museum now recounts. And it goes on to explain that the immigration came later.
Right.
Years later it came. It was literally commissioned to celebrate the end of slavery. But when black people walk through, you hear white people say, oh, well, my great-great. And my great-great. But black men, women, and children feel no connection to Lady Liberty.
Come on.
But how much prouder would they be if they knew that their ancestors that didn't come through Ellis Island, that came chained together in the belly of ships, that she was standing on those shackles? How much prouder would those young people be? How much honor would they display in understanding who paid for them?
Yeah.
You erased the chains, you erased me. So why don't we show the chains? And that was the whole point, because you see, once you show the chains, you've got to explain them.
You got to explain
And
them.
do you understand, every black man, woman, and child can literally say, oh, no, that's mine.
That's mine.
That's mine. And all of this time, America lied to its people and to the world. The most recognized symbol probably on the planet. And we've never told the truth.
The discovery that the Statue of Liberty's original design incorporated broken chains, signifying the liberation of enslaved people, exposes a significant omission in the conventional narrative. The existence of these chains, whether prominently displayed or subtly concealed, carries profound symbolic weight. It underscores the idea that liberty, in its initial conception, was inextricably linked to the emancipation of those held in bondage. This challenges the notion of a homogeneous, purely immigrant-focused interpretation and demands a more nuanced approach. This revelation necessitates a revaluation of how we interpret the statue's meaning. It compels us to move beyond a singular focus on immigration and to acknowledge the complex interplay of forces that shape the monument's creation. By recognizing this hidden aspect of history, we gain a more complete and accurate understanding of the nation's past and its enduring pursuit of its stated ideals. The statue, therefore, becomes a site of historical complexity, reflecting the contradictions inherent in the American project. The implications of this historical recontextualization are profound and far-reaching. It compels us to confront the fact that historical narratives can be shaped by selective memory, that certain histories can be marginalized or erased while others are amplified. Recognizing this tendency is essential for fostering a more inclusive and accurate understanding of the past, one that reflects the diverse experiences of all Americans. Furthermore, it invites us to consider the ways in which historical symbols can hold multiple and sometimes conflicting meanings. While the Statue of Liberty has undoubtedly served as a symbol of hope and opportunity for immigrants, its original symbolism reminds us that the pursuit of liberty has been an uneven and often contested process, one marked by both progress and persistent struggle. The act of revealing hidden historical truths is not merely an academic exercise. It is a powerful means of reclaiming marginalized narratives and ensuring that all voices are included in the story of a nation. This revelation encourages us to be critically aware of the portions of history that can be forgotten or deliberately obscured. It calls for a continuous examination of historical narratives that we may take for granted, pushing us to question accepted interpretations. By bringing to light the Statue of Liberty's connection to the abolition of slavery, we create space for a more honest and nuanced dialogue about the nation's history. It allows for acknowledgement of the historical injustices that continue to impact contemporary society, fostering a deeper understanding of the roots of systemic inequality. The recognition of the statue's origins also contributes to a more accurate historical understanding, one that reflects the complexities of the time in which it was conceived. It acknowledges that the idea of liberty was being discussed by people with diverse perspectives, and within the fresh memory of the Civil War, a conflict that fundamentally reshaped the nation. This deeper context illuminates the fact that the statue's symbolism is not static, but rather evolves over time, reflecting the changing values and priorities of the nation. It reminds us that history is not a fixed narrative, but a dynamic and contested terrain, subject to ongoing interpretation and revision. The inclusion of the abolition context into the statue's story also allows for a more complex understanding of the relationship between France and the United States. The statue, a gift from the French people, becomes a symbol of shared ideals, but also a reminder of the different paths that the two nations have taken in their pursuit of liberty and equality. The recontextualization of the Statue of Liberty also serves as a reminder that historical symbols are not neutral. They are imbued with meaning and power, and they can be used to reinforce or challenge existing power structures. By reclaiming the statue's connection to the abolition of slavery, we are challenging a dominant narrative and asserting the importance of marginalized voices. In essence, the effort to recontextualize the Statue of Liberty's legacy is a valuable exercise in historical inquiry and social justice. It challenges us to move beyond simplified narratives and to embrace the complexities of the past. By acknowledging the hidden history of the statue, we gain a deeper appreciation of the nation's ongoing struggle for equality and the enduring pursuit of liberty for all. Furthermore, it underlines the importance of critical thinking when regarding national monuments. These symbols are often used to define a nation. By adding the context of abolition to the statue, we expand the definition of what it means to be an American and what values are truly represented. The story of the Statue of Liberty, now fully revealed, stands as a testament to the transformative power of truth. It is a reminder that history is not a fixed entity, but a dynamic and evolving narrative that must be constantly re-examined and reinterpreted. The echoes of broken chains now resonate with a renewed sense of hope and empowerment, a testament to the ongoing pursuit of a more just and equitable society. In the final analysis, Joy Degrai's contribution is not merely about correcting a historical oversight, it is about rewriting the narrative of American identity. By reclaiming the Statue of Liberty's true legacy, she has ensured that its message of freedom resonates with all, regardless of their origin, and that the pursuit of liberty and justice remains an unfinished song, a continuous endeavor for all generations.